Hello, I'm Llewellyn King, the co-host of MECFS Alert, a YouTube program that was developed with myself and Deborah Woroff in New York City, herself a patient. The purposes of this program are to comfort the sick, to stimulate doctors to learn more about it and their patients, and to get the government to take it seriously, to spend more money, and to have more passion for research. I'm happy to be talking to somebody who is not wanting in passion, is not wanting in knowledge, the iconic, the fabulous Dr. John Chia. We're in Torrance, California, where his practice is. Dr. Chia, it is indeed an honor to have you on our broadcast. You are one of the people with a success record because your own son, who came down as a teenager with this horrible disease, and he is all right now. He's graduating, I believe, from pharmacology school?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
That's extraordinary. What are the treatments that you prescribe? You've told us in another broadcast that you're not enthusiastic about Ampligen. We haven't mentioned Rituxan. What are the drugs that you prescribe, the treatments, the therapies that you prescribe?
Just go back to the Ampligen very quickly. That I think it does help some patients from the stories I read myself. And we do know that this drug stimulates interferon production and also works on the toll receptor number 3, which are antiviral actions. So maybe in that respect, if the patient's immune system can be stimulated by that drug, then it's helpful. For our patients, first of all, I think for physicians, general practitioner, internists, I don't think the physician should be afraid of seeing this disease. I think a lot of the physicians don't like to see this and often afraid of this all these multitude of symptoms. If you think about, okay, these are viruses in all different organs, and they're there having a party, why wouldn't the patients have symptoms? Absolutely. So we can treat symptoms, and then we can treat more specific cause of it. So after the evaluation of the blood tests and all this, I think that one of the most important things is the initial illness. How did the patient get sick? What type of flu-like illness did the patient have? Did they have respiratory, gastrointestinal symptoms? Did they travel? Did they go to a lake, Lake Tahoe, Lake Havasu, some lakes, or go to Mexico, drink some local water, ate shellfish? These are all very important questions. Then you can focus on antiviruses. Unfortunately, there's no FDA-approved drugs for antiviruses. Well, 3 major things we use. If the patient has hypogamma-globulin, which is low gamma globulin, and if they can get the insurance to pay for this expensive therapy, gamma globulin is helpful in about 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 patients. It's probably just like Ampligen. But some patients who have severe pain, the pain will go away within 24 hours getting an infusion. And the infusion can be given every 3 to 5 months, not every month, because it's also very expensive. But for the fatigue part, it doesn't work quite as well. But for the pain, it works much better. The second thing we use are interferons. This will cost $6,000 a month. It's a very harsh treatment to go through. I rarely use it now because people can't tolerate it. I gave it to my son twice. He didn't like the treatment. He did go into remission for a short time, no more than a few months. Throughout this experience, we learned these viruses are hard to get rid of. No different than from HIV or hepatitis B. Short-term treatment will not eradicate them, but you may bring the levels down. The third thing I use is the Chinese herbs. And because we know Chinese herbs have immune stimulating activities. One of the ones I use is oxymitrine or equivalent. So that's actually my first line of treatment now, once I figured out the patient has antivirus infection. If patient already has some manifestation of autoimmune disease, or they have prior history of seizures, we don't use this type of product. But otherwise, we start very slow. We give patient a half a tablet a day for a week to 2 weeks. Then we slowly increase up to 2 to 3 tablets twice a day. My son took 6 a day on day 1. 2 weeks later, he wasn't feeling better, so he took 9. And then 6 weeks later, he asked me if we can join the gym. So he looked much better. I told him not to run yet, so he would start doing weights for about a couple months. Then after that, he started running. Started swimming in the pool. By the end of the year, he could swim a mile in about 40 minutes and run 3 miles the same day. worked 12 hours, slept 6 hours a night. He could work on 2 computers at the same time. Pretty amazing.
That is a story about a man, and in my empirical experience, men tend to be able to cope and even to have substantial remission better than women. Would that be an accurate observation?
Absolutely. And also the chances of relapse are much higher in women after they take the Chinese herbal stimulants. The response rate overall is about 50%. We have given it in over 800 patients. Absolutely. Some men come in really tired, functioning about 50% of normal, having all sorts of symptoms. After 3 to 6 months, they don't have to take it anymore. They're done. The women usually have to continue it because when they stop, they usually will relapse within the next few
Are
months.
you suggesting that the most effective remedy you have is the Chinese herbal remedy?
I have no other choices. Yes.
Over antivirals?
Well, there are antivirals we use. The first drug I gave my son was a drug we use for HIV and hepatitis B. This type of drug is not tailor designed for this type of virus, as we found out in the laboratory in the recent years. These drugs are for other viruses. We need the drug company to develop better drugs. But they have to see that we all agree this is the major cause of this illness. Otherwise, they won't even be interested.
Was the concept that this is a viral disease set back a lot by the scandal over XMRV? Maybe that's a strong word, but the contamination of the XMRV trials?
I think I have mentioned in many of my talks before, I said, whenever you find a virus, it must fit the disease. Okay? If somebody said, I found Ebola virus in Rocky Mountain, well, that's incorrect. If you found, Rocky Mountain spotted fever in Kenya, well, that's not correct either. You have to fit. XMRV was said to be sexually transmitted. That was already wrong, because this is not a sexually transmitted disease. Although there are rare cases that couples that came down with it, everybody would assume it's sexually transmitted. But if you take a very careful history, they probably gone somewhere, ate something, and came down with something.
I'd like to talk to you on another broadcast about transmission. I'm talking with the extraordinary Dr. John Chia at his consulting rooms in Torrance, California. A future broadcast will have more of the wit and wisdom of Dr. John Chia.
If you would like to sponsor MECFS Alert, please contact us at mecfsalert@gmail.com. Help us to help you.